Welcome to the Butterfly Effect. I'm Chris Horner. This is stage 3 of the Giro d'Italia 2025. Today's race at 160 kilometers with a Category 2 climb that's 10.5 kilometers long at 7.5%, summiting with 38.5 kilometers to go on today's stage. Well, it looks like almost, if you bring it back to stage 1, a stage that would be perfect for Lidl Trek's Mads Pedersen. That's why after the individual time trial where he lost the pink jersey by just 1 second to Primoz Roglic, who's wearing pink right now at the Giro d'Italia starting stage 3, that's why we know that Mads Pedersen wants to put his team on the front and try to get that pink jersey back, because if he can drop all the sprinters like on stage 1 and come into the finish today, he can win a second stage victory here at the Giro and possibly put himself back in the pink race leader's jersey. But as I told you yesterday on the Butterfly Effect after the individual time trial, stage 3 is not like stage 1. It's a Category 2 that's really a Category 1 climb, and it summits with 40 kilometers or 38.5 kilometers to go. So Lidl Trek can't go to the top of the climb with only 3 riders or less. Why do I bring that up? Well, if I rewind the film to the 2022 Vuelta a España on stage 7, that stage was a 200-kilometer stage that summited up a Category 1 climb, I'll call it. Maybe it's Category 2. But as they summited the top there, Lidl Trek, Mads Pedersen didn't keep enough teammates with them, and so they couldn't bring back that break. And then Jesus Herrada won the sprint after Fred Wright messed up doing the lead out. So the Cofidis rider grabbed the stage 7 sprint victory win out of the breakaway there. Mads Pedersen had to settle for a top 10 because he didn't follow the golden rule. You got to get over the top with your teammates. And he blew his teammates up trying to keep the break close on that stage. And he dropped all the sprinters, so he had no sprinter teams left either. So in today's race, if you're the director sportif, Kim Anderson, for Lidl Trek, you got to tell your team at the moment the race starts getting exciting that we want to protect the race for Mads Pedersen to try to win it. But if it gets out of control, well, you just got to hit the board button, because you don't want to blow your whole team up when we're on stage 3 here of the Giro d'Italia. But if you got a shot at winning the pink jersey back and a stage, well, guys, you got to go for it. But don't blow up your whole team on the Category 2 climb. That's really a Category 1 with 38.5 kilometers to go. That's a no-no. So can Trek actually do the tactics correct on today's stage 3? Well, let's find out, because as I told you, with 160 kilometers to go is when they're going to hit kilometer 0, and then the attacks are going to start. Doesn't take very long, about 5 kilometers, and then we see Josh Tarling, yesterday's stage 2 individual time trial winner, the British time trial champion. He's going up the road. He's got 3 riders for company, and then we see 2 more riders start attacking us. We see Tonelli starting to go across, and he's got some company there with Dries de Bont from AG2R. So we got 2 riders chasing 4, and then we look back at the Peloton, and we can see it's starting to try to go curb to curb, but we see that it's Martin Marcellucci up there from Bardiani that's throwing in attacks right away, because he wants a cross to get into this front group of 6, but Marcellucci's getting chased by the Peloton. So you see him sit up and look back, and he's giving that little Italian hand gesture to everyone, like, why are you chasing Bardiani right now, you knuckleheads? Well, he gets caught and gets wrapped up, and then we see the KOM jersey, Sylvain Monique there from Cofidis. He's attacking and trying to get up the road, but they bring him back. Then Martin Lucy goes up there again as Marcellucci's attacking again. He gets brought back again, and now we see it's curb to curb back there from the Peloton, so we know it's 6 riders going up the road. Okay, if I'm the director sportif and I told Mads Pedersen the plan was to keep everything together and try to win the stage and get pink back, at this moment with 6 riders up the road, I'm willing to ride the front. So if they put guys on the front, we see Jacopo's on the front, and then they get some help. Bora Hansgrohe start riding the front. We get into 120 kilometers to go, so we're only 40 kilometers into this stage, and the goats start running across the street. As we see the goat running across the street, he's going to jump right into Dion Smith from Intermarché. I don't know how Dion Smith kept this upright. Maybe the goat knew better than Dion Smith, but Dion Smith gets knocked off the road a little bit, still keeps it upright, and the goat does a 180 spin or 360. Well, you make the call on that. As he spins off, Dion Smith keeps it upright, and so does the goat. The goat runs off the road and then up the hill, and you see the dog that's supposed to be protecting the flock up there as the black dog's like, who's messing with my flock up here? Well, the Peloton's passed through, so the dog's just probably lost all the excitement while he was napping and missed it all. But the goat lived, and so does Dion Smith. So as we go through the feed zone, we still see the 2 teams on the front, Bora Hansgrohe and Lidl Trek. And if I'm Kim Anderson, the director sportif, I'm loving this. We got another team to ride with Liddell Trek at this moment. Remember, when we start looking up at the break of 6, Josh Tarling is the biggest threat up there. I'll call him about a minute 30, minute 40 seconds back from the time of Primoz Roglic, but he's not a threat on the general classification. Chris Hamilton is up there, so he's could be a little bit of a threat, but he's 2 minutes and 40 seconds thereabouts. And is he really going to outclimb Primoz Roglic with the kind of form that he showed on yesterday's individual time trial, going second, only losing 1 second to Josh Tarling? And if I dissected his ride, Primoz Roglic's ride in the individual time trial, I'd say he probably only lost because he's being careful through the corners, wisely so. He raced magnificently and clearly has some form. So Bora Hansgrohe could let this group of 6 go up there and get 5, 7, 8 minutes, 10 minutes, but instead they're riding the front. Not a big ordeal. They probably had some kind of deal with Liddell Trek that if they can ride one guy on the front easy with them, they'd be willing to do it and they don't have to waste too much energy. And then maybe there's payback later. We'll have to pay attention in the later stages of the Giro d'Italia to see if Liddell Trek ever help out Bora Hansgrohe in the later stages. Maybe this is a favor for a favor later. I don't know. But at this moment, we got 2 teams ride. So Kim Anderson from Liddell Trek DS, he's got to be super happy, and Mads Pedersen's got to be stoked. We go into 100 kilometers to go. As we're coming up the first KOM climb here, we see that's Mark Donovan that rolls through the KM, no problem. Now, when they drop down the descent, they're still holding about a 3 minute, 2 minute, 45 second gap on the peloton behind. Things start getting a little bit more interesting around 72 kilometers to go just thereafter when they do the Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe sprint that nobody in this front group is interested at all. So they'll roll through this and the peloton will roll through after that. But then we start seeing Jayco get on the front. I could just only assume at this moment with under 70 kilometers to go, Jayco's just putting their guys in a good position because it's getting a little more narrow, and now it's going to start getting bumpy before we get up into 48 kilometers to go when they start that Category 2 climb. So Jayco's bringing some time down on the breakaway guys up front, and as that's happening, we're going to start seeing flats. Flats start appearing all over the place as we see Max Cantor back there flat, then Dorian Godon's going to flat, Matteo Cattaneo, my old teammate from Lampre, he's going to flat, Felix Engelhardt's going to flat, and then after that they start going up to the lumpy parts of here on stage 3, and we start seeing riders getting dropped out the back left and right, the sprinters that is, as we start seeing Sam Bennett, Caden Groves, Pasqualon there's getting dropped off the back, and as those sprinters are coming out the back, we're going to see another casualty with the bikes and having a mechanical as we see it's Egan Bernal, and Egan Bernal is going to do some magical changing right now with Cam Heiduck, his teammate. As they change on the left side of the road, they're going to change bikes. Heiduck's bike's going to be a little bit big, but you have to change bikes right now because I just told you riders are getting dropped, so we don't know exactly where the caravan is. So Team Ineos are wisely handling everything for Egan Bernal to keep him at the back of the peloton as quickly as they possibly can. Well, they get him back there fast, and then as soon as the cars come back up, we see Egan Bernal start changing bikes. Now, after he changes bikes, he's back in the peloton, no problem. So no harm, no foul right now for Egan Bernal and Team Ineos as we're coming into just under 50 kilometers to go, and we're starting this Category 2 climb. This was going to be the highlight of the whole stage. We still got 5 riders at the front, but Dries de Bump flatted out earlier too. So now with only 5 guys up front, and all these flats happening, you've got to assume somebody must have threw something down on the road to cause the peloton some headaches right now. But they're past that section and we're on the climb as we see Liddell Trek's Dan Uhl's on the front. 7 Liddell Trek riders are on the front as Jacopo's finally dropped off the pace, but they got 7 guys setting some pace on the front of the peloton. Now we're going to start seeing some attacks about 3 kilometers into this climb. We see that it's Fortunato throwing an attack, Pale Bilbao's with him, and John Marco from Soudal Quickstep's latched on his wheel. As these 3 riders start lighting up the climb, only 3 kilometers into this 10.5 kilometer climb, now it's starting to get excited. What's Liddell Trek going to do? Are they going to panic and blow all their guys up if I take you back to stage 7 of the Vuelta a España in 2022? Will Mads make the mistake, or is he going to keep his guys calm? Well, once those 3 guys start attacking, we're going to see another group of 3 go with Michael Stora in there sitting second position for Two-Door Cycling. But that move gets brought back as I believe it's Verona on the front for Liddell Trek, and they still got 5 guys up front right now. Those 5 guys, we're talking about Verona, Patrick Conrad, Cicconi's up there. Vasek is the lead-out guy for Mads Pedersen, so you don't want him pulling, and Mads Pedersen's the other 5th rider as they're controlling that next group of 3 that we're trying to attack. They bring that back, and we start going up front, and we see Fortunato's getting no help from Pale Bilbao. He's riding on the front the whole time at this moment as we see John Marco there from Soudal Quickstep get popped off the back. Once he gets popped, there's 2 guys, and the brake is blowing up all over the place because if I rewind the film a little bit, Josh Tarling had already dropped off early out of that group of 5, so there's 4 left, and now they're starting to blow up as we see the 2 riders from the pace there of Fortunato flying by the drop breakaway guys. He's going to bridge up to the 2 last guys left up there as we see Tornelli and we see Chris Hamilton up there to put 4 guys in the front. Now, it doesn't take too much longer before we start seeing Tornelli drop off from Pulte. Then we're going to see Chris Hamilton drop off, and now we're left with 2 riders up front. And Liddell Trek setting tempo at the back there with still Verona and with Patrick Conrad doing most of the pace setting. Giacone sitting on. Vasek, of course, sitting on. And Mads Pedersen, you know he's sitting on because he's trying to get pink right now on stage 3 again. As we see Liddell Trek setting the tempo, we go back up to the 2 rider. Fortunato's going over the top of the KOM with 38.5 kilometers to go, grabbing maximum KOM points. This will put him in the KOM jersey at the end of stage 3. So this attack right now was not for nothing when we're talking about Fortunato. Pale Bilbao's been sitting on the whole time, but as they drop over the top, down the descent through this national park with all these switchbacks in the cloudy, foggy areas, they're dropping down the hairpin turns left and right. 2 riders holding off, 2 riders from Liddell Trek back there's not a bad scenario when they went over the top with 50 seconds. But the problem is, it was 38.5 kilometers to go, and there's only 2 riders up the front, and these switchbacks are going to start to wear off. Once the switchbacks wear off, that means the Peloton could start going some Mach speed as we see this straightaway with about 35 kilometers to go. Liddell Trek's on the front, and these guys are all in the tuck, and then we see the speedometer from the motorcyclist hitting 100 kilometers an hour. So you know the 2 riders are losing time up front right now, the Liddell Trek, as those 2 guys from Pale Bilbao and Fortunato are struggling to hold off the Peloton that just carries massive speeds when we're talking about straightaway sections. So Liddell Trek's not having a big problem right now, only chasing 2 riders. As they start chasing and they're getting closer to the 2 riders, we're going to go under 25 kilometers to go, and we're going to see that Bardiani are coming back. We see it's Martin Marcellucci there, and we see it's his teammate Filippo Farelli, along with 2 other riders that are coming back to the back end of the Peloton. Why am I bringing that up? Well, Martin and Filippo are both sprinters for Bardiani. So as they're getting on the back, that means we got some more competition up front for Mads Pedersen to be able to win today's stage. And he has to win the stage, go second or go third to get the time bonuses so he can make up the 1 second on Primož Roglič. If they cross the line together, of course, he doesn't get pink, so he has the first, second, or third position. And as more sprinters are coming back onto the back of the Peloton, it's about 90 riders strong. Now, up front, we're going to see that the 2 riders get wrapped back up as Fortunato and Pale Bilbao are getting wrapped up with 18 kilometers to go. Then with about 18 kilometers to go, almost at the same time, we look at the back of the Peloton. Corbin Strong has found his way to the back of the Peloton after he got dropped, going over the Category 2, and he's coming back on with Jakob Fuglsang. That happens to be my old teammate from Radio Shack days. As we see Corbin Strong getting on, that means that, again, there's more competition up front for Mads Pedersen. But if I back the film all the way up to that last Category 2 climb, Wout van Aert's not here. So as we go back forward again, we know Mads Pedersen doesn't have top sprinters up here to deal with, but he's still got quality sprinters because this is the Giro d'Italia and there's 90 riders in this front group. Now we come into about 15 kilometers to go and it starts getting wide. As it starts getting wide, we see Liddell Trek's going to start getting a little bit of a rest, but they're still near the front. We come into 10 kilometers to go. We see Bora Hansgrohe, UAE team members have been at the front, and Liddell Trek are fighting their way back up there. Come into 8 kilometers to go. We got an aerial shot of the whole Peloton here, and look at the 3 riders wearing yellow close to the back, if not at the back. Those are Visma Lease bike riders, and that's Simon Yates, that's Steven Kruijswijk, and Wilco Kelderman. The rest of their team has been dropped, and the 3 riders that are in here are at the back, and it's going to get narrow and technical here on stage 3 of the Giro d'Italia. So these guys, especially Simon Yates, just start thinking about moving up, but they're at the back, and there's not much team help. Visma Lease bike's kind of out of the picture at a grand tour called the Giro d'Italia for 2025. We go back up front with 7.5 kilometers to go. Bahrain Victorious are throwing down on these lumpy, bumpy coastal roads here before we get into the finish. As Bahrain Victorious is taking over the front, trying to keep their GC guy, Tiberieri, in good position. They're throwing down some efforts on the pedals, and as they come off the bump, they start going down the descent, and we see it's Patrick Conrad for Liddell Trek that's dropping off the back, rubbing his legs. Fantastic job right here. Tip of the hat to Patrick Conrad, who's just now starting to drop off as a Peloton up front is going full gas. We'll see one more casualty from Liddell Trek, and we'll call that Verona at the back. And then once the cameras go back up front, we're going under or just around 4 kilometers to go as Bora Hansgrohe have taken over the front, and I'll call it 4.2. with Bora Hansgrohe at the front and Lidl-Trek with 3 riders left. Ciccone has not really had to touch the front yet. Vasek hasn't touched the front. And, of course, Mads Pedersen's trying to win the stage. But they're in good position, and Bora Hansgrohe's got the front with Primoz Roglic in good position. And UAE team members have done a magnificent job, especially when you compare it to Stage 1, of keeping their race leaders at the front of the peloton throughout Stage 3. So as Bora Hansgrohe have the front, Primoz Roglic is in good position, and we go under 4 kilometers to go, and it narrows up with an island through the center. We're talking about 4, maybe 5 riders wide right now. Bora Hansgrohe have the front of the peloton, throwing down with 3 riders up front, and Primoz Roglic is in fine position. Ciccone, Vasek, and, of course, Mads Pedersen's on the right side of the peloton, but they haven't had to take over the front just yet. We look a little bit further back from then. Corbin Strong's in the picture, or Lewis from Movistar's in the picture, and Marcellucci from Bardiani, along with Filippo, who bridged back with about 20 kilometers to go. They're up at the front, too, and this section's getting super narrow. We come into 2.5 kilometers to go, and we see that it's time for Ciccone to go to work for Lidl-Trek. As he takes over the front, he's hopping on the front, and he's got Vasek on his wheel, Mads Pedersen, and Bora Hansgrohe are still in the picture, but over to the left side, as Ciccone first puts out his left arm to slow the group down, then he puts out his right arm. When I'm watching, I'm like, what is he doing? I can't see anything going on, but of course I can't, because out of the picture, we finally see in the replay that it was a dog running across the street, so they got to deal with goats, they got to deal with dogs here with 2.2 kilometers to go, as Ciccone finally gets the green light as the dog's off to the right side of the road. Ciccone starts punching it. Once he starts punching it, we see Lewis and we see Corbin Strong coming up from the right side as we're coming into the more technical sections here at Stage 3. With Ciccone on the front, Vasek sitting second, and Bora Hansgrohe maybe in a reverse order there, and Mads Pedersen all at the front of the peloton. We start coming into about 1.1, 1.2 kilometer to go as the road starts to bend to the right. Check out this right bend. It's a technical bend because this road's still super narrow. It has not opened up yet. Once they come through the bend, we'll see Lewis as they start the next roundabout coming at about 1.1, I'll call it 1.1 kilometer to go. As they come into the right to start the bend that's going to go to the left, the roundabout, Lewis is going to get pinched off there from Movistar, but Corbin Strong holds onto the wheel there of Mads Pedersen as they come through the roundabout. They exit the roundabout, and we see Ciccone sitting first, and Bora Hansgrohe's Pellizzari there sitting second. So Vasek's flying up the right side of Pellizzari, because you don't want Pellizzari in front of you, that's for sure. If you're Vasek, you want to get on the wheel there, of course, of your teammate Ciccone. So he comes over the top of Pellizzari from Bora Hansgrohe, and Primoz Roglic is starting to drop off already on the left side. As Vasek does, he gets onto the wheel there, Ciccone, and we start going under 1 kilometer to go. Ciccone's leading this whole Lidl-Trek team out. It's 3 riders, but he has not touched the front till 2.5 kilometers to go, and now he's throwing in big efforts. As he's throwing in the effort at the front with Vasek and Mads Pedersen on his wheel, we start looking further back as we're going under 1 kilometer to go. Things start getting interesting because now we're reaching 900 meters, and you start looking over, and it's Corbin Strong on the right side, Marcellucci from Bardiani is coming up the left side, and those two are going to squeeze off Oldani from Cofidis. As they squeeze off Oldani from Cofidis, the battle is not over for Corbin Strong. He wants the wheel there of Mads Pedersen, and of course Martin wants the wheel there of Mads Pedersen too. So those two start bumping. I mean, they're bumping left, right, and center. And as they start bumping, we go up front. We see Ciccone at 775 meters to go. He looks over. He's done right now. It's time for Vasek to go to work. Vasek starts taking the front of the peloton here with just under 775 meters to go as Lidl-Trek's got Mads Pedersen on his wheel. We start looking back at the overhead picture again, but this time from the front, looking from the left side of the peloton, looking at Martin Marcellucci there as he's bumping shoulders again with Corbin Strong. It's impressive looking from the front as Marcellucci is leaning over on Corbin Strong from Israel Premier Tech. Corbin Strong's bumping back, and then Corbin Strong gets a big bump from Marcellucci. I'll call it the 3rd, 4th, 5th bump here. They're bumping left and right all the way down this last 1 kilometer. And then we look over at Van den Bos from Albacete to Koenig coming up the right side. How's he able to come up the right side? Well, remember, there's only been 3 Lidl-Trek riders on the front, and right now we got Vasek on the front. He's got to save something for the hard kick as we're coming in the 500 meters meters to go. We see Vandenbosch come up from the right side, and then Corbin Strong sees Vandenbosch coming, so he's like, well, I don't have to bump anymore with Marcelucci, so I'm going to go over here with Vandenbosch. But Vandenbosch looks back right over his shoulder and realizes he doesn't have his teammate, so he pulls off hard right. Corbin Strong's left out in the wind again, so what does he do? Well, he goes hard left because he wants the wheel of Mads Pedersen. When he does, he goes hard left again, bumps again with Marcelucci there from Bardiani as he takes the wheel from him. Marcelucci's not just done yet, though, as he comes back up from behind now and bumps Corbin Strong. Why he tried to bump from behind, I don't know, but we're coming into 300 meters to go as up front Vasek starts his kick. With Vasek out of the saddle now sprinting down the center of the road, he's going to take it into 200 meters to go. Mads Pedersen's going to throw in his attack at 200 meters and jump hard to the right. This time not all the way to the fencing, just a little bit between the fence and between Vasek up front, who now's pulling off. Watching Mads Pedersen lead here at stage 3 of the Giro d'Italia. As Mads is starting his kick, we see that Corbin Strong's got a little something left. I don't know how, but he's got something. As he starts his acceleration, he comes up the left side of Mads Pedersen as Orluis has come all the way from the back. Let's back the camera up just a hair and look at Orluis, who's stuck in the middle there for Movistar. He goes all the way to the left, just misses the front wheel there of Tom Pidcock. Now he's come all the way around the left. We go into 150 meters to go, and he's just behind Corbin Strong, who started his kick and now is gaining on Mads Pedersen. As they're coming into 100 meters to go, he's gained a little bit. 75 meters to go, he's gained a lot. 50 meters to go. It looks like either one of these two riders could win, as Corbin Strong's head has gone up, down, and back up again as he's sprinting with everything he's got. But the head of Mads Pedersen has never dropped since he started at 200 meters to go. We go all the way into about 2-3 meters to go. Corbin Strong tosses his bike left side there of Mads Pedersen, but Mads Pedersen keeps sprinting all the way across the line. Once he crosses the line, he throws his bike too, but he already won the stage. After he realizes he wins the stage, he sits up and celebrates with a roar, 2 fist bumps, then a single fist bump, and then the hands, big time excitement as he comes across the line to win his second victory here at the Giro d'Italia Stage 3 in 2025. And take the pink jersey. And let me remind you, he already has the purple jersey. So second on the stage, of course, is Corbin Strong. Third is the Movistar rider there, Orluis Alar. And then if we go back to about 8th or 9th, I believe he was 8th, was Marcelucci. And his teammate Forelli was back there. If I back the film all the way up, these two guys were very close to each other and their teammates, but they never let each other out. Instead, they chose to fight, of course, with Corbin Strong. And because Martin Marcelucci fought with Corbin Strong, he's going to get relegated to today's stage 2. So, Bardiani, you guys are knuckleheads. You should have been working together, doing the lead out, getting in front of Mads Pedersen, but instead you came up snake eyes on today's stage 3. Either way, though, when it's all said and done, when you look at Mads Pedersen getting hugs from all of his teammates, and then later up in his interview, he talks about how it was the main plan and he can't wait to give back to Ciccone in the mountain stages here, and you know Mads Pedersen will. Well, after he does that, after he celebrates victories up on the podium for the stage win and taking the pink jersey, he's got to go over and sign the camera. When he's walking over to sign the camera, the guy handing him the pen says, "Can you sign the camera and leave a little heart?" We see there that Mads Pedersen signs the camera and he says, "I don't do hearts." You don't do hearts, but you'll wear pink? Huh, strange. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video real soon for Beyond the coverage of the rest day of the Giro d'Italia.